What's going on, guys? So, today I want to talk about why you should quit playing video games. And the reason that I'm talking like this is because I grew up playing a lot of video games, right? So, I can understand the feeling and where you might be coming from and all the sorts of reasons why you might come up with like why you shouldn't quit, right? Why you shouldn't stop. Look, I love video games. I'm gonna level with you for a second. I love video games. I enjoyed them so much growing up, and I'm sure I could go back and enjoy the occasional one now. I mean, I played tons of like Sonic games and Nintendo. Like, I had just about every Nintendo system from the original NES all the way up to I had the Switch, right? But every once in a while I skipped the console, or like I didn't have the Wii U. I had a lot of them though. Played just about any Pokemon game up until probably Game Boy Advance. I had PS1, PS2. I didn't really get past that. A lot of Final Fantasy. So that's a bit of a tangent, and it's a bit more for the video game lovers here. But I'm trying to level with you because it was such a huge part of my childhood, and there's a part of me that thinks, well, what would be different if I never played video games and I created different habits? And there's a part of me that also thinks everything happens for a reason, and I reached some of my current mindsets because of the way that I've lived life up until now, right? So I'm not going to sit here and judge you for it. I'm just going to say one thing about why you might want to consider quitting. So dopamine is a chemical that we feel in our body when we achieve something, accomplish something, and it's triggered by things that are technically unrelated to achievements and accomplishments as well, right? Which can get tricky, which is why a lot of people get stuck on social media and YouTube all day, and like checking their notifications, their Instagram, their blah blah blah. It's because they get like a little like, and it triggers the dopamine reward system. Like, it feels good, right? But it's not real long-term dopamine. It's really short-term stuff. And there's tons of stuff that falls into that category, like drinking or like hookup culture and things like that. And it's funny enough that video games actually do the same. And look, I know I'll be the first to say that the video games are an incredible collaborative art form, but like the literal like art and design that goes into it, the music. I write music myself, so I get it, right? Like those things, the programming, like all the different things that are required to make that, it's incredible, right? And inside these games, it has similar mechanisms to what we were just talking about triggering the short-term dopamine, right? Like you've unlocked an achievement, or you leveled up, you did this and that, and it's all shorter term on a shorter time scale, and it sort of keeps you going, like kind of like stringing you along through the game. And look, I know it can be fun. I just want to invite you to think about this because it's similar to like the Instagram thing, right? It's like you're not really accomplishing anything in real life. It's kind of a form of escape. And I'm not saying that you can't appreciate art and things every once in a while. We all have, right? What I'm saying is you might want to do it a little bit less. You can still enjoy certain things, right? But maybe you want to water it down and do it a little bit less, or just stop the habit completely. And you'll know why as soon as I say this, right? Because if you started treating your life, like your literal, real life, like outside, what you're doing, how you're going about your day, if you started treating yourself as the video game character, as cheesy as that sounds, you might start to agree with me here that maybe it would be good to replace the habit of video games with something else, right? There's tons of different examples about this, and I sort of just talked about this in the Atomic Habits video that I just made. But you can replace the habit with something else. Like every time that you go, for example, you go to play a video game, instead you do like a short workout routine, like maybe some abs and some push-ups and some squats, like even just like body weight, like no weights, just in your room or your living room. Or a different habit, like go outside and go on like a 10, 20, 30-minute walk, like get some sun. Because that's so much more healthy for you. Excuse me, I need to drink some water, I think. But, yeah, that's, like, just imagine, right? Because you can apply that same concept of, like there's a lot of people who go to work. Maybe they go to the gym, maybe. And basically when they're done with work, all they're doing is eating and watching Netflix or playing video games, or some other habit that's not really serving their potential, like their highest version or their best self, right? So it's no wonder that they're caught in a cycle of not growing, right? And there's levels to this. Maybe you're growing, maybe you're not growing, maybe you're going in a downward direction, maybe you're growing just a small bit when you could be growing way more if you switched around some of these habits. So like tons of people are doing that, like mindless scrolling, social media, Netflix, video games, whatever it is, right? Going to bars all the time, blah blah blah. If you level up your video game character, like here's an excellent example, right? In certain video games, you have statistics or stats for, let's say it's like a fighting game or something where there's like some battling going on, right? Like I used to play a lot of RPGs, like Final Fantasy and things like that. So you'd have little meters or bars that you would level up, right? Like your attack or your power, your strength, your defense, your speed, and or like a skill tree, right? Like you like unlock different skills, and you can apply this to your real life, right? Like treat yourself as the video game character, start leveling up, right? So let's say that you want to work on fitness, right? Like you got to start filling that meter and start leveling that up. Or you want to work on, let's say, learning a skill or building a business. Like you can allocate that time after, let's say, your work, so you can break out of some of the cycles you're in. You can allocate some of that time to the gym. You can allocate some of that time, as much as you can, right, to developing that skill. And it compounds, right, every day. If you work on your business, just a little bit every day, even if it's just 30 minutes. I mean, you could literally tell yourself, like you could trick yourself into doing some of these things, right? Like, oh, I'll only sit down and do it for like 5-10 minutes, right? Whatever. Even if you tell yourself 1 minute, 30 seconds, right? Like you can trick yourself into getting into flow and getting into the habit, and like you'll realize, like once you actually sat down and started doing it, that now you actually want to keep doing it. Like, oh, actually this is kind of working. Like, let's keep going. So you could level up in a video game, or you could level up in real life. The choice is yours. You got this, bro.